Hey guys, this is BoomTheBombOmb. Welcome back to Phoenix Wright with my father, Abe Weiss. We just got past the initial part of the tutorial here, so let's continue. Alright. Seem much more relaxed, Mr. Wright. Good for you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Because I don't feel relaxed, that's for sure.
Well then. First, a question for the prosecution. Mr. Payne?
Yes, Your Honor.
As Mr. Wright just told us, the victim was struck with a blunt object. Would you explain to the court just what this object was?
The murder weapon was this statue of the Thinker. It was found lying on the floor next to the victim.
I see. The court accepts it into evidence. So we just had evidence added to the court record, essentially. So that's always going to be updated. So we're going to have to keep a close eye on the court record.
Okay.
Statue of the in the shape of the Thinker. It's rather heavy. Okay.
Right. Be sure to pay attention to any evidence added during the trial. That evidence is the only ammunition you have in court. Use the R button to check the court record frequently.
Mr. Payne, the prosecution may call its first witness.
Prosecution calls the defendant, Mr. Butz, to the stand.
Chief, what do I do now?
Pay attention. You don't want to miss any information that might help our client's case. You'll get your chance to respond to the prosecution later, so be ready. Let's just hope he doesn't say anything unfortunate.
Uh-oh. Larry gets excited easily. This could be bad.
Ahem. Mr. Butz, is it not true that the victim recently dumped you?
You want to be Butz this time? No? Okay.
Hey, watch it, buddy! We were great together. We were Romeo and Juliet, Cleopatra and Mark Antony.
Didn't they all die?
It's true, they did!
Yeah.
I wasn't dumped. She just wasn't taking my phone calls or seeing me. Ever. What's it to you anyway? Mr. Butz, what you described is generally what we mean by dumped. In fact, she had completely abandoned you and was seeing other men. She had just returned from overseas with one of them the day before the murder. What do you mean, one of them? Lies! All of it lies! I won't believe a word of it. Your Honor, the victim's passport. According to this, she was in Paris until the day before she died.
Passport added to the court record. So the victim was apparently arrived home from Paris on 7:30 the day before the murder. Okay. Indeed. She appears to have returned the day before the murder.
Dude, no way! The victim was a model, but she did not have a large income. It appears she had several sugar daddies. Daddies? Sugar? Yes, older men who gave her money and gifts. She took their money and used it to support her lifestyle. Dude! We can clearly see what kind of woman this Miss Stone was. Tell me, Mr. Butz, what do you think of her now? Right? I don't think you want him to answer that question.
Yeah, Larry has a way of running his mouth in all the wrong directions. Now, I have to interject here.
Yeah, go on.
I do not practice criminal law, but in no criminal case that I am aware of would the prosecution call the defendant as a witness, because the defendant has a right to not testify and incriminate himself. And so if the state is unable to prove the case without the defendant testify, the state doesn't have a case. That doesn't mean that the state can't cross-examine the defendant if the defense decides to put on the defendant. But in terms of the opening with the prosecution, this would never happen, as far as I know, in a real criminal case.
Right. Here, I think he's saying because he knows Larry might incriminate himself through testimony because of the way he runs his mouth, I think he's trying to use that to his advantage.
Mm-hmm.
But because that's just in terms of the story. I wouldn't say that, of course, about a real case. Obviously, you're not the expert, but you're more knowledgeable there than I am.
Well, in this case, of course, he should stop him from answering.
Right. So we want to stop him from answering. Wait and see what happens to stop him from answering.
My client had no idea the victim was seeing other men. That question is irrelevant to this case.
Ugh. Dude, Nick, what do you mean irrelevant? That cheating she-dog? I'm gonna die. I'm just gonna drop dead. Yeah, when I see her in the afterlife, I'm gonna get to the bottom of this.
Let's continue with the trial, shall we?
I believe the accused's motive is clear to everyone.
Yes, quite.
Oh boy, this is so not looking good.
Next question. You went to the victim's apartment the day of the murder, did you not?
Oh.
Well, did you or did you not? Heh. Well, maybe I did, and maybe I didn't.
Uh-oh, he went. What do I do?
So should we...
Well, I think we stop him from answering. He's got to answer honestly, but he doesn't. He really doesn't have to answer at all.
But he's under oath.
He's under oath, but this is a criminal trial, and
this is our client.
And our client does not have to incriminate himself. So as a result, we should stop him from answering.
Okay.
I'll send him a signal. No, I would not want him.
So you see, you're thinking in terms of real life. You have to remember that this is a battle of wits, and sometimes you don't want to... Sometimes answering honestly, even if it will hurt your case, might be the best thing to do because it can bring other things to light.
That may be true in the game, but in real life, you do not want your client to testify unless you know how he's going to testify.
Very true.
And also in real life, never, ever, ever tell a client to lie like a dog. That is a cardinal. that is a cardinal rule that you have to follow. So if this means that he's going to lie like a dog, then we have to go down the other path that the game provides.
Right. So here's something interesting. Some of your choices won't have any weight on what happens, except for a small branch that will then re-branch into the thing a few seconds later.
Mm-hmm.
So just so you know, you're not too pressured, okay?
Okay.
But I still would want to hear your honest opinion if you thought you only had one chance at this.
Well, it's like this. I don't remember. You don't remember? Well then, we'll just have to remind you.
I got a bad feeling about this.
We have a witness that can prove he did go into the victim's apartment that day.
Well, that simplifies matters. Who is your witness?
The man who found the victim's body. Just before making the gruesome discovery, he saw the defendant fleeing the scene of the crime.
Order! Order in the court! Mr. Payne, the prosecution may call its witness.
Yes, Your Honor.
This is bad.
On the day of the murder, my witness was selling newspapers at the victim's building. Please bring Mr. Frank Saw It to the stand.
Of course, again, they haven't yet excused the first witness, and now they're calling a second witness. That would never happen.
Mr. Saw It, you sell newspaper subscriptions. Is this correct?
You want to be this guy?
Oh, yes, newspapers, yes.
Mr. Saw It, you may proceed with your testimony. Please tell the court what you saw on the day of the murder. So here's our first witness testimony.
I was going door to door selling subscriptions when I saw a man fleeing an apartment. I thought he must be in a hurry because he left the door half open behind him. Thinking it strange, I looked inside the apartment. Then I saw her lying there, a woman, not moving, dead. I quailed in fright and found myself unable to go inside. I thought to call the police immediately. However, the phone in her apartment wasn't working. I went to a nearby park and found a public phone. I remember the time exactly. It was 1 o'clock p.m. The man who ran was, without a doubt, the defendant sitting right over there.
Good job on that voice,
Larry,
by the way.
Why didn't you tell the truth?
That was a really good voice for the witness there. You did excellent. I was laughing under my breath.
I can't defend you against a testimony like that.
Incidentally, why wasn't the phone in the victim's apartment working?
Your Honor, at the time of the murder, there was a blackout in the building.
Aren't phones supposed to work during a blackout?
Yes, Your Honor. However, some cordless phones do not function normally. The phone that Mr. Saw It used was one of those. Your Honor, I have a record of the blackout for your perusal. Blackout record to add to the court record.
So the fact that they're even talking about cordless phones, like, that dates the game. Mm-hmm. That dates when this came out, you know, because back in the Game Boy, we still had cord phones all over the place. Yeah. Electricity in Miss Stone's building was out from noon to 6 p.m. on the day of the crime. Now, Mr. Wright?
Yes, yes, Your Honor.
You may begin your cross-examination.
A cross-examination, Your Honor?
All right, Wright, this is it. The real deal.
What exactly am I supposed to do? No criminal defense attorney would ever ask that.
Of course, but it's your first case. You're probably breaking down. Case of nerves.
Why, you exposed the lies in the testimony the witness just gave.
Lies? What? He was lying?
Your client is innocent, right? Then that witness must have lied in his testimony. Or is your client really guilty?
How do I prove he's not?
You hold the key. It's in the evidence. Compare the witness's testimony to the evidence at hand. There's bound to be a contradiction in there. First, find the contradictions between the court record and the witness's testimony. Then, once you've found the contradicting evidence, present it and rub it in the witness's face.
Okay.
Open the court record with the R button, and then point out the contradictions in the testimony.
So now so you don't have to do his voice again for this, because it's the same text, and we're scrolling through it until we find something that contradicts within the court record.
Okay.
All right? So so just try to figure it out.
Okay.
So I was going door to door selling subscriptions when I saw a man fleeing an apartment. I thought the man must be in a hurry because he left the door half open behind him. Thinking it strange, I looked inside the apartment, saw her lying there, a woman not moving, dead. I quailed in fright and found myself unable to go inside. I thought to call the police immediately. However, the phone in her apartment wasn't working.
Whoa. He just said he didn't go inside.
Right.
And then he went inside.
Exactly.
We don't have evidence for this.
Because if you take a look, there's no phone in here.
No, but there is internal contradiction in his own testimony.
Right, so how do we... Because we don't have evidence to prove that.
Well, you don't have to prove anything. It's already in the record in terms of his testimony.
Right, but
So
how do we do it? So the game
so-
didn't tell us this, but what we have to do is press him for further information.
Right.
To see if we can get his lies to unravel themselves.
Exactly.
Let's just see. Nearby park found a public phone. By the time exactly was 1 p.m. Wait, there's also the fact that a public phone might also be out of power during the blackout in the area.
Could be.
Let me double check the court record.
You
Oh no, it's just the building.
So
Yeah, so I think what you're saying is more akin to what we need to know. So the defense thing to see right over there. Okay, so let's phone in her apartment. So let's press him here and see what he says.
the phone in her apartment wasn't working?
Yes. Oh, that's also you.
Yes. I mean, no, it wasn't, right? But you said you didn't go into the apartment, or did you? Oh, that. I can explain that. There was a cordless phone on a shelf in the entranceway. I reached inside and tried using that to call.
And the phone wasn't working, correct? What happened next?
I went to a nearby park and found the public phone.
So this is back in the testimony. So that's interesting because I would have thought the same thing as you when I first played this. I think I thought the exact same thing. Like I'm like, okay, there has to be a contradiction there because he just said he didn't go into the apartment, but he did.
Yes.
So apparently they're letting that go for whatever reason.
Tell me, how many, have you ever seen a shelf so close to a front door that a person could reach in to an apartment?
Well, judging by the picture we saw when he saw the woman there during his testimony, even though that's not like something that's actually presented to the court, obviously, but it's to give us more of a visual thing. It looks like he could have reached in and got
I don't think so. You go back and look at that photograph, it's too far into the, he would have to have...
He would have to really lean in there on one foot.
No way he would have been able to do that.
Yeah, I guess not. Remember the time exactly, it was 1 p.m.
Now, how would he know exactly that it was 1 p.m.?
That is a good point.
And if you go back...
Wait. Time of death was 4 to 5. Oh! There we go!
So the autopsy report tells us that she died much later than the time that he claims death occurred. And he's really certain about this. So...
He's misremembering it for a reason. Or he somehow got misinformation.
Right.
Regardless, this is what we want. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that, and we're going to take this and present it. Ready?
You found the body at 1 p.m.? You're sure? Yes, it was 1 p.m. for certain. Frankly, I find that hard to believe. Your statement directly contradicts the autopsy report. The autopsy notes the time of death at sometime after 4 p.m. There was nobody to find at 1 p.m. How do you explain this 3-hour gap?
You couldn't quite hear Mr. Payne's objection there, but this is why I've been giving him a nasally voice this entire time, because it's like, OBJECTION! It's something like that. A little higher pitched than what I said. I can't get my voice that high pitched. Man, that just wrecked my throat.
This is trivial. The witness merely forgot the time.
After his testimony, I find that hard to believe. Mr. Saw It. Why were you so certain that you found the body at 1 p.m.?
Gee, that's a really good question.
Great job, right? Way to put him on the spot. That's all you have to do. Point out contradictions. Lies always beget more lies. See through one, and their whole story falls apart.
Wait, I remember now.
And you will remember in the next episode, Mr. Saw It. This has been Boom the Bomb Omb.
Abe Weiss.
And we will see you all in the next video. Bye!